I want you to think back to the first time you ever remember being truly afraid. What was it? Does it stick with you today? This is the sort of thing that we talk about on the House of Asher. Won't you join us? The House of Asher, a clearing house for the mind. Hey everybody, welcome back to House of Asher. I'm your host, Stevie Asher. This is episode 16, and it's like I said, it's a beautiful sunny day out. I actually had to put my shades down slightly because it was reflecting off my basic, whitewashed skin, because I'm out in the sun what I can, but I kind of avoid it. I'm still sort of a night creature just by nature, and anyway, so hopefully you can make out my delicate features. What I want to talk to you guys about is some legends, urban legends, and the sort of stuff that you might see turned into, like, maybe even a B movie or something like that. You might see on something like Svengoolie, whose shirt I am rocking today. I dig me some Svengoolie. Anyway, so what I want to talk to you about is there's a town close to Princeton, Kentucky, which is where I'm from, and it's an area called Marion, Kentucky, and it's the legend of the little witch's grave. Alright, here's more or less the story. Alright, well, there's 3 or 4 sides to this. Okay, let me just say this. The legend states a mother, Mary Louise Ford, and her 5-year-old daughter, Mary Ellen Ford, were found guilty with communion with the devil and sentenced to die, and was burnt at the stake. Both of them. Okay. Another thing was said, well, they were just totally innocent. These people were, naturalists, probably use herbal medicines and things like this, or whatever reason. It doesn't take a lot to be a witch. I mean, you look at history. My own 8th, 9th great grandmother, Anne Fowler, was found guilty of witchcraft and actually died in the cells of Salem, Mass, before her execution could be carried out. And as I understand, she didn't do a thing. She was just different. She was outspoken, which is unheard of in the time of this. And she was disenfranchised. So generally the people that are the poor, the oddballs, the freaks, the mutants, guilty, catch hell from other people's ideas of whatever's going on. Okay, backtrack. This poor family, I think it was 1916 again, they were found guilty and supposedly burnt at the stake. Well, the reasons was because they were so freaking superstitious in that area. I know people that are still superstitious, maybe not to that degree, but they were just so terrified they could not wait to bring these people to trial. So they ended up just dragging out the mother and the daughter of their house and burned them. Just stack it up, pile on the brush, boys. Let's get a good flame going. That kind of crap. I mean, this is America. You know what I'm saying? This is United States of America, Kentucky, 1916. Supposedly in the enlightened age of times, right? Anyway, so after it was said and done, they buried the mother's body somewhere else. It was close to the Pilot Knob Cemetery, which is where the little girl is buried. They buried her on unconsecrated ground because I saw her pretty much as the contributor or the instigator of this. The child, I've heard 2 different things. I heard they went ahead and put the child in holy ground because she was really before the age of to be able to really reason and make a really conscious choice, really to think through a choice. So they put her in the ground as sort of I'm kind of sorry we killed you and your mom, so I'm gonna stick you over here. Cool, okay. But the other side I heard was they were so afraid that this girl would come back and wreak revenge and make the cows milk sour and whatever, man, and make the crops this and that and locust and what other goofy farm nuttiness was going on with these people. Anyway, so what they did was when they put her in the graveyard, they made sure to put her in a steel lined coffin, and it was reinforced, and just so nothing was getting in and definitely nothing was getting out. Poured concrete, several feet of concrete either side up, then covered it in so many feet of gravel. They took an iron fence, put it all the way around it. If you look at the fence, and I may include some links to some pictures from Pilot's Knob, it almost looks like intersecting crosses. Just kind of like, I mean, they were not taking any chance. Apparently, this kid was a complete badass or something, or they thought this kid was a badass. Put her in there, did that, put a wrought iron fence. And the legend was that, you people started to see a little blondish haired girl, small, waifish, walking around in like a white nightgown or whatever you would call it. And these people would also say that her hair, which had been beautiful, kind of corn silk hair, was basically burnt on the ends and kind of clumped up, and the bottom of her dress had been blackened, as well as her feet were stained from soot and streaks and of the smoke and the flames and scratches, and you get the deal. Pretty gnarly stuff. And she would just pace back and forth within the confines of that little steel fence. Well, later on, as kids are apt to do, as a lot of people, that whole kind of show how tough you are, Jake, go out there, grab a rock off the witch's grave or something like that. And the thing was, they said if you got too close, especially if you try to lay down on this thing, which is super disrespectful, but anyway, that the little witch would try to grab you and pull you into the grave with her, or worse yet, possess you and walk free to wreak its revenge on those that killed her and her mother in the name of Satan or whatnot. Well, now the mother, right? What's going on with her? The other part of the legend is, when you're up in Pilot's Knob Cemetery, you will hear movement. You will hear movement back and forth across the fence line, and it almost sounds like it's encircling the cemetery. Well, like I said, again, people's done all kinds of different stuff to appease the spirit, and also I think people with a little sense knows, regardless if this was an actual murder, death at the stake at a mob's hands, or just a girl, which is another side of the thing. Some people said, well, no, she died of consumption, or she died of cholera, or she died of scarlet fever, or just one of the myriad hellish ways that you could die in the late 1890s, early 1900s. But they would put, toys and things like that. Teddy bears, I totally understand this. I totally understand that sort of an offering thing. It's which is no more off than taking flowers to your grandmother or whoever's grave and putting a flower or a bouquet or something. Maybe your mom liked roses. Maybe your cousin Lenny liked fish. I've seen people put fishing lures on there, because it's not that freaky. It's just unfortunately connected to a horrific death of a child, and apparently the mother. Well, the mother, who is buried outside the grave, would also, like I said, walk around. They would also talked about a watcher. Don't know if that is a somehow altered spirit of the mother. Maybe it is Satan waiting to claim the spirit of that child. I don't know. I do know this. Me and my team, the Caldwell County Paranormals, we went up there, took EVPs, took a fair amount of pictures, and this was October, November-ish, I think. Freaking cold up there, guys. It was, hilltop country, not a lot of structures, and it's cold, man. It was really cold. And what I do remember was getting one photo that really stood out to me. It shows the interior of the fence to where there's a small stone for the little girl, and you could see almost I hate to use the term ectoplasm because it goes straight to like Ghostbusters, but it was a smokish, wispish, I know it's not a word, wispy trail of reddish smoke. And the thing that really got me was it kind of come from the headstone, and if I can do it with my hands properly, if you're watching this as a video, it wasn't like a hand reaching up, it was kind of gnarled, reaching out like that. If you've ever seen anybody that's been a victim of a severe fire, you know your skin scorches and your skin scars, and it distorts your skin, and more often than not, your hand loses its flexibility. It never has the same fluid motions. It's very kind of gnarled or stunted, and it was just like that. And I took a picture right after that. It wasn't there. I've researched it, I zoomed it up, did all kinds of different tests, and it's not an insect, it's not a piece of cobweb, it's not I don't know what it is. That was pretty freaky. What was freakier was right around that time that activity started happening, we really didn't feel alone anymore in the graveyard, and we really felt a presence off, outside the walls of the cemetery area, because it's fenced in, and we would hear doom, da, doom, step, step, boom, step. So we're thinking, man, it's got to be a deer or a coyote or whatever. So we have night vision cameras. We're scanning everything. Nothing. Not a friggin' thing was seen. I mean, which is weird because you would think there'd be some sort of animal in the wood. It was like it was devoid. It was devoid of animals. It was devoid of what you would expect in a natural wood. But there's this sound, and we walked all to the fence, looked all we could, shouted out to whatever it was, never answered, nothing, just kept walking, and it kept creeping us the heck out. So it wasn't too long after that we went ahead and took off. I would like to speak to people that have some connection to the family, has some connection to this and that, to kind of tell your side of the story. And being a descendant of someone who was accused of witchcraft and paid with their lives, I can understand how, especially if that was not true, that really could be sort of a thorn in your side. I would love to give someone the opportunity to clear, not so much clear their name, but dispel the negative connotations put on these poor people. Like I said, you can contact me here in, obviously the comments, and just get back with me, guys. I want to talk about it. Because like I said, it was something that was really, it really struck me. It really struck me on a lot of levels. I will say this, and this should be a no-brainer for anybody who does paranormal investigations or ghost hunts or genealogy, just walking through graveyards. If it's something's marked posted, don't go there. If something says don't be here after 10 o'clock, don't go there. Okay, the only admin to that is if you're going to investigate a graveyard at night, what I do, I'll contact City Hall, I'll clear it with their people, let them know what we're doing. It's a public place. As long as they kind of know who you are, I give them like my name, my license, my vehicle registration numbers, and all that stuff, so they know exactly who's there, when we're going to be there, and when we're going to be gone. I hope. And then we let, if I can get in touch with, if it's in city, we let the city know. If it's family members in county, we let family, city and county know. I would love that way. Hey, this is who we are. This is when we're going to be there. This is when we're leaving. I would love to, which is what we did. Humanize it more. Bottom line is, don't be a bonehead. Not just don't go to jail over a fun time of getting spooked that you can easily handle, whatnot. You don't. It doesn't make you look cool. Doesn't make you look reckless. Makes you look stupid. And it gives everybody else and people, and they deserve respect. Activity a bad name. And again, get in touch with me if you have a variation of this. Please get back with me. Let me know what you've heard. If you've went there yourself and investigated, I would love to hear what you've seen. I would love to know what kind of situations you may have encountered with, within Pilot's Knob and or around Pilot's Knob. So I'm going to wind this down. I do want to say this, that I appreciate the fact that you guys support this and that you guys, respond and give me feedback, because part of this show for me, like I said, I'm not doing this as like a great big syndicated flashy wop thing. I'm just having conversations with you, and it's very impersonal. That's why I'm taking a sip of coffee right now. Mighty fine. But the segment is over. And as always, enjoy the day. Go out there. Enjoy the flowers. Maybe take a walk through a graveyard. It's a beautiful place. It's always quiet. Maybe do a little genealogy while you're out. But as the sun sinks behind the horizon, and the shadows grow long, and time slows down to a creep, make sure to latch your doors, check your closets, and look under your beds. You never know what's there. Maybe there's a little half-burnt witch child waiting to pull you down into the deep. So, my friends, until next time,